Every time you had a hard day, every time the week was rough, every time your boss got on your nerves, you opened your phone, bought something, and for a few minutes you felt better. And the problem is not that in itself. The problem is that you are addicted to that feeling without even realizing it. There is a phrase that lives inside your head, and that is costing you a fortune. You do not even notice how many times a week it shows up. But it is there, operating in silence, justifying every impulsive purchase, every unnecessary buy, every financial decision made from an emotional place. I deserve this. And you really do deserve it. That is not the point. The point is that your brain learned to use consumption as a currency of exchange for your own effort. And every time you buy something to reward yourself, it registers that as the solution, as relief, as the right answer to the exhaustion you are feeling. Neuroscience calls this a dopamine loop, and it works in a way that is identical to any other chemical addiction. The stress goes up. You buy something, dopamine is released. The stress comes down, and the brain takes note. Buy-in fixes it, and the next time the stress rises, it will demand the same solution with even greater intensity. What is happening inside you is not a character flaw. It is not a lack of discipline. It is not financial error. It is pure biology operating exactly as it was programmed to operate. Your reward system has been hijacked by consumption, and now it works against the building of your wealth every single day. Think about what happens in practice. You wake up on Monday with energy, with intention, with the will to change. By Thursday, you have already gone through 3 stressful situations, a difficult meeting, an unexpected problem, a demand that was not in your plan, and then Friday comes and your brain presents the bill. You've suffered. You deserve it. Go ahead and buy something. And the cruelest part of all this is that the purchase does not need to be large to cause damage. It does not need to be a new car or an expensive trip. It can be the delivery you ordered without being hungry, the outfit you bought without needing it, the gadget you added to your cart at 11 at night after an exhausting day. Small rewards that added together dig an invisible hole. That hole has a technical name that economists call opportunity cost. But in practice, it means one very simple thing. Every dollar you spent buying cheap dopamine is a dollar that did not go to work for you, did not earn returns, did not multiply, did not build anything that lasts longer than 15 minutes of pleasure. And here's the detail that most people never stop to honestly face. You are not just spending money, you are trading your future freedom for immediate relief. You are trading the possibility of one day not having to work out of obligation for the instant satisfaction of a single click on a phone screen. The addiction to consumption dopamine is especially dangerous because it comes wrapped in socially accepted and even celebrated narratives. Nobody is going to call you an addict for buying a new outfit after a rough week. On the contrary, your friends will say you deserve it. Social media will show you ads for everything you searched, and the cycle will feed itself. The consumer industry spends billions of dollars every year studying exactly how this trigger works inside your brain. They know you are most vulnerable after a stressful day. They know the phrase "you deserve it" deactivates your rationale filter. And they use that with a precision that no traditional addiction could ever replicate. Think about how shopping apps were designed. The interface is smooth. Checkout takes 2 clicks. Delivery promises to arrive tomorrow. Everything was engineered so that the gap between the impulse and the purchase is so short that your rational brain has no time to enter the conversation. And by the time you notice, the order has already been confirmed. And then comes the second part of the cycle that very few people talk about, because dopamine does not last. It never lasts. So, after the product arrives, after the excitement fades, after the outfit is hung in the closet without being worn, the brain returns to its previous state. The stress comes back, the dissatisfaction comes back, and the solution it knows also comes back. Have you ever noticed that the feeling of wanting to buy something is far more intense than the feeling of having bought it? The desire is enormous. The anticipation is pleasurable. But when the product is finally in your hands, the satisfaction is short. And soon that thing that seems so necessary becomes just another ordinary item in your life. And the brain is already searching for the next reward. This is not a coincidence. It is the system working exactly as it was designed to work. Dopamine is released with greater intensity in anticipation than in possession, so you will always need the next purchase to replicate that feeling, and then the next one, and the next, in a cycle that has no bottom and no end. And while that cycle runs, something very silent and very costly is happening in parallel: compound interest, the most powerful tool that capitalism has made available to any ordinary person, is working against you instead of working for you. Because the money that could be earning returns is being spent on dopamine that lasts minutes. There is a simple math that is going to bother you. If you spend $50 a week on small emotional rewards, that is $200 a month, $2,400 a year. And if that money were consistently invested over 20 years at a moderate return, you would be talking about more than $100,000 that simply evaporated into momentary relief. But the damage is not only financial, and this is where things get truly serious, because when you build your identity around consumption as a reward, you begin to need increasingly larger stimuli to feel the same thing. The $3 coffee no longer does it. It needs to be the $7 one. The outfit from a regular store no longer gives that feeling. It needs to be the designer one. That is tolerance, the exact same mechanism that occurs in any chemical dependency. The level of stimulus that once produced satisfaction now only produces normalcy. So you need to escalate to increase, to find the next bigger version of the reward, to feel what you used to feel with much less. And as tolerance increases, the cost increases along with it, not only in money, but in identity. Because you begin to define yourself by the things you consume, by the brand you wear, by the restaurant you frequent, by the car you drive. And when your identity is tied to consumption, any threat to your lifestyle feels like a threat to your very self. That is why when income goes up, spending goes up in the same proportion. It is not a lack of planning. It is not financial disorganization. It is that your brain learned that you are what you consume. And more income simply means you can now buy a more expensive version of the same dopamine you have always bought. You got a raise and moved to a nicer apartment. Got another and traded in your car, changed your wardrobe and upgraded the restaurants. At every step that income rises, the lifestyle rises alongside it to fill every available dollar. And this has a name: lifestyle creep. But its root is not financial. Its root is psychological. It is the addiction to maintaining the level of stimulus compatible with the tolerance you have built. And the world around you reinforces this with frightening efficiency. Your friends celebrate the new apartment. Social media validates the different car. Family praises the fancier restaurant. Nobody in your circle is going to tell you that you are confusing consumption with achievement, because they are doing the exact same thing. But the question that nobody asks out loud is this: if you were earning $4,000 and spending everything, and now you earn $8,000 and are still spending everything, what exactly has changed in your life beyond the size of the toys? Because wealth is not built with high income. Wealth is built with the difference between what comes in and what stays. And if nothing stays, nothing is built. There is a fundamental difference between a person who works to buy things and a person who makes money work for them. And that difference is not in how much each one earns. It is in what each one does with what they earn. It is in who each one chose to be before any financial decision ever appeared in front of them. The person trapped in the consumption dopamine cycle cannot see beyond the next month because their brain is too busy managing short-term rewards and anticipations. There is no cognitive space left to plan 5 years ahead. No mental energy left to think about building when the entire focus is on compensating. Researchers at Princeton and Harvard documented that constant financial pressure significantly reduces the cognitive capacity available for long-term planning. It is as if part of your mental processing is permanently hijacked by the urgency of the present, leaving little room for the strategy that the future demands. And that is the complete cycle of the trap. Emotional consumption drains the money. The lack of money generates stress. The stress activates the I deserve it trigger. The I deserve it generates more emotional consumption, and so on. In a loop that can last decades without the person ever realizing they're spinning in the same place with more expensive clothes. The way out does not begin with a budget, does not begin with cutting expenses, does not begin with any spreadsheet. The way out begins the moment you recognize that you are addicted. That consumption has become your primary way of regulating emotions, and that this addiction is being paid for with your future freedom bought in invisible installments. When you can see the trigger before you hit the buy button, when you can name the emotion behind the impulse, the stress, the frustration, the need for validation, you create a space between the stimulus and the response, and it is in that space that real choice exists. It is in that space that freedom begins to be built. I am not saying you should never reward yourself again. I am not saying that pleasure is wrong or that you need to live like a financial... I am saying that when the only tool you have to deal with difficult emotions is consumption, you are paying a very high price for a very temporary solution. Developing other forms of reward Forms that do not cost money or that build something instead of draining it is what separates someone who accumulates from someone who always spends everything. It is not superior willpower. It is not different financial genetics. It is simply having more than one available response to the stress of everyday life. And when you stop needing consumption to feel good, something very interesting starts to happen with money because it starts to show up. Not because you earned more, but because you stopped spending it on dopamine that lasted minutes. And now it is available to be directed towards something that lasts decades. Compound interest is the mathematical proof that time is the most valuable asset you own. And every month that passes with money being invested instead of being spent on emotional reward is a month that is building a version of freedom that you will be grateful for 10, 15, 20 years from now. The cruelest irony of this entire cycle is that the feeling you are trying to buy with consumption, the feeling of security, that everything is okay, that you have achieved something real, that feeling only truly appears when you stop buying it and start building it. Because real wealth produces a peace that no impulsive purchase can ever replicate. You will not find in the next product what you are looking for. You will not find it in the next outfit, the next gadget, the next lifestyle upgrade, because what you are really searching for is not for sale on any platform. It is being built in silence by those who decided to stop trading the future for the present. The change begins with an honest question you ask yourself before every impulsive purchase. Am I buying this because I need it, or am I buying it because I am trying to feel better right now? And if the answer is the second one, you already have the information you need to make a different choice. Not every time, not perfectly, because perfection is not the goal here, and never was. The goal is to create an awareness that did not exist before, a pause that did not happen before, a space between the impulse and the action where you can choose who you want to be financially. Because in the end, building wealth is not about math. It is not about budgets. It is not about the best investment strategy. It is about identity. It is about who you decide to be when your brain presents the bill for the hard day and tells you that you deserve it. It is about what you answer in that moment. And the answer that builds freedom is not no to everything. It is yes to what truly matters, yes to the investment that will grow, yes to the construction that will last, yes to the version of you that 10 years from now will look back and understand exactly why every choice was worth it. You made it to the end of this video, and that is already a sign that something here truly resonated, because most people close it when the content starts to make them uncomfortable. And this content was made exactly to make you uncomfortable, to pull you out of autopilot, to create that pause that changes everything. Tell me in the comments which moment in this video hit you the hardest, because your reflection might be exactly what someone who is stuck in this cycle right now needs to read to start getting out of it. Subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and I will see you in the next video.